Holding a SUP paddle is easy, but using it correctly takes a bit of thought and practice. But by doing this, you'll not only make your paddling more effective and more enjoyable too, but you'll also find you can paddle further and easier with less effort. Whether paddling on flat water or in the wave, the same paddling principles apply. Here are some of the most common paddle mistakes. Forgetting to adjust your paddle height. Before you get a float, it's important to adjust your paddle. Having the correct paddle height will not only assist with your paddle technique and efficiency, but also prevent injury, particularly to your shoulders. As a rough guide, your paddle should be approximately 6 inches above your head if the blade is positioned by your toes. But it comes down to personal preference really. Too long, too short, and you may find it uncomfortable over a longer period of time. When on the land, your paddle is likely to feel long, but remember, when afloat, your entire blade will be in the water, making your paddle feel shorter. An adjustable paddle is a perfect way to experiment with different paddle heights, and getting the correct paddle height will help you achieve that perfect paddling technique. Holding your paddle backwards. Holding your paddle the wrong way around is a really common sight, especially when you start paddleboarding. It's an easy mistake to make due to the strange curve or cant of the blade. When held correctly, the paddle blade should be angled forwards so that when the paddle is by your feet, it is pointing directly down. This ensures your paddle is the most effective throughout the paddle stroke. You'll notice the paddle will work the other way around, but it's likely to feel quite unstable and much less effective when paddling. To help remind you which way around to hold your paddle, you can always place a sticker on the front of the paddle blade or shaft. Hands too close together or too far apart. Having your hands positioned the correct distance apart will ensure that you have control of your paddle and you're able to paddle with power. As a guide, your elbows should be at right angles when your paddle is above your head with one hand on the T-piece or handle. Too close together and you'll find you'll have little control over the paddle and very little power. Too far apart and you'll find you'll be very stooped and likely to scoop the water and waste energy. Paddling only using the tip of your paddle. When paddling, you should aim for your entire blade to be submerged during the paddle stroke. This will help produce more power, encourage confident paddling, which will make the board travel faster and therefore feel more stable. By only having the tip of your paddle in the water when paddling, you will be moving slower and therefore feel less stable. Shoveling with your paddle. Ideally, you should aim to exit the paddle blade just behind your feet. Any later just results in water being scooped upwards, resulting in a big splash. Great for getting your friends wet behind you, but really just a waste of energy and inefficient paddling. Not holding the paddle vertical. Holding your paddle vertical is vital if you want to paddle in a straight line. You should be aiming for your top hand to be directly in line with your bottom hand throughout the paddle stroke. Any angle in your paddle shaft will result in the board being propelled off to one side. There are numerous tips out there to help you paddle in a straight line, but by having a vertical paddle is probably one of the most important and effective ones. Paddling with bent arms. Paddling with straight arms helps you engage your core, which is where most of the power should be generated when paddling. When you're feeling a bit nervous, it's only natural to feel a bit tense, rigid through your body, but by using your arms, not your core, will cause your arms to quickly tire and your paddling will be way less efficient. Try straightening your arms so that your paddling power is coming through your core, not just your arms. Paddle high in the air. Your board is most stable and your paddling is most effective when your paddle is in the water or as close to the water as possible. This applies to the recovery part of the stroke as well as the main stroke itself. When returning the paddle to the start of the stroke, you should be aiming for your paddle to be as close to the water as possible, providing you stability on the water surface if required and also to reduce windage of your paddle blade. A common sight with many beginners is the old windmill action with the paddle high in the air during the recovery part of the stroke. This is slow, requires a lot more effort and is likely to make you off balance. Practicing the correct paddle technique will definitely make you more efficient and probably way more enjoyable too, and you will be able to paddle for further, for longer without getting tired. But don't try thinking about them all at once, practice them one at a time. You'll notice the change in your paddling speed and power immediately. So next time you go for a paddle, give them a go.